Welcome back to part 3 of Empire of Shadows. In the last part, the secret schemes could no longer stay behind closed doors. News of the meeting between Donario and Garrido leaked out, throwing all of Jersey into a storm of tension. The two powers were about to face off, where every promise, every deal, meant nothing. All that remained was power and violence. Before we dive into part 3, if this story has gripped you, don't forget to hit like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Ping.Stories so you won't miss what comes next. And now, let's step into part 3, the public showdown. Night covered the abandoned industrial zone in Jersey. Warehouse 14 loomed in gray concrete, lit only by a few dying bulbs. The air reeked of rust and damp, a place built for meetings no one ever wrote down. The secret was no secret. Garrido's men lingered in the shadows, smirking, daring. Trump's men moved quieter, ghosts in dark suits, weapons hidden under cloth. This wasn't negotiation anymore. It was power dressed as violence. Right on time, Donario arrived at the old warehouse in Jersey. He walked slowly, his cane tapping a steady rhythm against the cold concrete floor. Marco stalked close behind, hand tight on the gun in his jacket. Enzo Moretti followed, eyes sweeping every corner. Garrido waited, pinstripe suit, blood-red tie, cigar burning in his hand. Behind him, muscle, lined like statues. On the floor between them, a battered table with a half-empty bottle, the same bottle from the wedding. Donario Trump, Garrido smirked. Finally, you show your face. Donario didn't answer. He sat across the table, gaze steady, silence sharper than words. Marco stood behind him, a tiger ready to strike. Looks like Newark's not so safe, Garrido sneered. A shipment from Medellin vanished. People say the Trumps lost control. Donario lifted the glass, staring into the amber liquid. People say many things. Only fools believe them all. Garrido's smile thinned. And Santos, he's reaching from Miami to New York. Your boy Antonio sang beautifully, Marco snapped. Gun drawn, barrel pressed to Garrido's skull. The room exploded, dozens of guns aimed across the floor. The sound of metal clicking filled the air. Enough, Marco, Donario said, calm as ice. Father, Enough! The word cut sharper than a blade. Marco trembled, lowering the gun, but rage still burned in his hands. Garrido crushed his cigar underfoot. This city has room for only one name. You want politics? Ortega? Fine, but the docks, the goods, the money, they flow through Chicago. Donario set the glass down, fingers drumming once. The money flows where I say. Nowhere else. The air froze. Enzo tilted his head, a signal. Trump's soldiers readied. One spark, and it came. A gunshot cracked, glass shattered, muzzle flashes tore the dark. Screams, bodies fell hard against concrete. Marco dragged his father behind crates. Enzo drew both pistols, firing clean, precise. Bullets chewed walls, smoke thickened. The warehouse became a storm of fire. Garrido's voice roared above the chaos. Trump, you'll die here, a stuffed tiger with no claws. Marco rose, fury blazing, firing back. A bullet slammed into Garrido's man. Blood sprayed across the floor. The firefight raged 10 minutes, then thinned. When the smoke cleared, the floor was painted red. Dozens lay dead, but Garrido was gone. In the dark, Enzo helped Donario outside. Marco followed, blood on his shirt, enemies and his own. Far away, sirens wailed, blue and red flashing towards the scene. Donario paused at the doorway, surveying the ruin. No one won tonight, he said, voice heavy. Only blood spilled. Only hate piled on hate. The morning after Jersey, the New York Herald screamed its headline, "Gunfight in abandoned warehouse, at least 12 dead." No names, no families, but in the underworld, everyone knew. It was Garrido's bloody greeting to Trump. Trump Estate, Fifth Avenue. The air was heavy. Marco paced like a caged animal, shoulders still bandaged, eyes burning. "We strike back now. Garrido lives, he'll think we're weak." Isabella set down her teacup, voice sharp. "Strike back? And turn the foundation into a circus? The press already smells blood. One more drop and New York will call us a gang, not a family." Lucia nodded, firm. "This is our chance. We need politics on our side. Without it, Garrido and Santos will run everything with blood." Donario sat silent, listening. Both were right, but the path he chose demanded both blood and politics. Blood spilled at the right time, politics paved with money and promises. "Enough," his voice struck like a gavel. "Marco, you'll wait. Lucia, you go with your mother to Orlando. We'll meet Ortega there." Marco growled but obeyed. Donario continued steady. "This isn't just Trump versus Garrido anymore. This is the board with Washington itself, Orlando, fundraising gala, night crystal chandeliers. Politicians and donors mingled, glasses clinking, laughter rehearsed. On stage, Senator Ortega spoke of Florida's economic future, eyes scanning for the real power in the room. In the corner, Donario Trump sat in silence, Isabella and Lucia at his side. Black tuxedo, cold gaze, enough to unsettle handshakes. When Ortega stepped down, Castillo, the lawyer, led him over. "Mr. Trump," Ortega smiled wide, shaking hands. "I've heard much about the foundation. What you've done in the Bronx and Little Havana is admirable." Donario raised his champagne. "People need beds, hospitals, but to keep them, we need looser laws. I trust you understand." Ortega nodded, eyes glinting. "The ports are lifelines. I can smooth obstacles, but I need campaign funds." Lucia leaned in, voice calm, certain. "The foundation will fund projects directly in your district. The papers will praise you. And we'll have the legal corridors we need." Both sides win. Isabella's hand brushed her daughter's under the table, pride flickering in her eyes. Ortega laughed, raising his glass. "I like this one. Sharp, direct, done. We have a deal." Donario didn't smile. He only nodded. In his mind, this was no deal, only a prelude. Brooklyn, same night. While Donario bargained with politics, Marco huddled with loyal soldiers in a dark bar. A map spread out. Red marks slashed across Garrido's warehouses, Santos's streets. "Father says wait," Marco growled, "but I won't. Tomorrow night, we burn Garrido's warehouse 23. Let him learn Trump isn't a stuffed tiger." His men cheered. Marco's eyes burned with vengeance. But deep inside, rebellion against his father had already begun. Orlando. Before dawn, Donario sat alone on a hotel balcony, city lights flickering in the distance. He had signed a shadow pact tonight, but Jersey's blood hadn't dried. Marco's fire hadn't cooled. Garrido hadn't stopped. He sipped bourbon, whispering to the night, "To enter politics, I must wear clean clothes. But to wear them, someone must bathe in blood first." His gaze drifted far. He knew this game of soft power would still rest on foundations, soaked in red. This is Ping.Stories. I'll always be here with you, bringing thrilling tales. That's all for tonight. Sleep well and get ready, because the next episode will take you even deeper. Goodbye for now, and see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming. Ping.Stories, where stories never sleep.